Hi, good evening, and welcome to yet another week and another episode of the Minority Report. I'm Arlan David, your host, and this evening we have a very interesting program, and I know we say that a lot, but as the events begin to unfold in Tobago, it makes for more interesting conversation, more interesting dialogue, and more interesting research. Welcome this evening to all of you who are logging on, those who have already logged on, those who are comfortably seated in your living rooms with a bowl of popcorn, as some persons would have indicated, and just awaiting the show to begin to unfold. And again, this evening, this week, we definitely will not fail to deliver on the mandate, as it were, as given to the Minority Council and the Minority Leader, where he begins to advocate constantly and consistently, ensuring that persons' needs and persons' interests are indeed represented in Tobago, and as some persons love to say, the voice of the voiceless. And I think that many persons have now begun to quote unquote regain their voices as we see so much taking place throughout the island of Tobago, so much happening, so much conversations, so many things in the public and the private domain, so many things out in the open. And this evening is no different. This week has been no different. And we're going to get a bit into that as we go deeper into the discussion as the show unfolds this evening. So, folks, we want to thank you. We want to welcome you again to the Minority Report. For those of you who are locked on thus far, you can view this program on the Tobago Updates website. I know many persons, you might be on your laptop, your device, and so on, your tablet, and you just want to go to the website and take in the program. You can also view the program on the Tobago Updates YouTube channel, which is the option that many persons also take. But the platform that many of you seem to love very much so, because I think it gives you the opportunity to also contribute real time in terms of on the live, is that of the Tobago Updates Facebook page, and we welcome you to log on to that page this evening. We had a bit of a challenge, some challenges a couple weeks back, but I think we would have dealt with that significantly in terms of identifying persons or person who may have, for one reason or the other, saw it fit or saw it probable to report the page and have the program come off air or the page shut down at the point in time. However, once that occurs, I will say to you, and I can put forward, that you can also log on to the YouTube channel, the YouTube page, Tobago Updates YouTube channel, or you can turn to channel number 102 if you are an Amplia subscriber. Yes, Tobago Updates is on Amplia as part of their cable provision networking, and you can just turn to channel 102 and you can experience the show live. A bit of rumbling in studio there at a point in time. I thought that we were having an earthquake. Yes, so you can log on or tune your television to channel 102 as well. Folks, we want you to be able to call us this evening, and I am promising to open the lines a bit this evening, because I think that so many people have been messaging and saying that they want the opportunity to comment. They want to be able to call and encourage and congratulate persons on the show and generally the information that's being presented. So at some point in time this evening, we're going to be opening the lines as well, so that we can all participate in the discussions. And that is important for us to hear from you, to hear your contributions, to hear your concerns, to even hear your recommendations that can be brought forward, and ultimately to the benefit of all of Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago. So the numbers to call and to message are 284-6597. That's 284-6597. And 356-8833. That's 356-8833. And by now I want persons to be able to pen those numbers down so that you can have it at your fingertips. And so as the show unfolds, you can feel free when I give the indication to take your telephones up and call into the program or WhatsApp to 2846597, and we will in fact be able to read some of your comments and to make some of your recommendations public so that all on the program can benefit. I want to reiterate as well that this program, The Minority Report, is open to all viewers. It's open to all listeners, not just persons who may align to our ideology or whatever philosophy is on the program, but it's open to all and sundry. So feel free to join in, feel free to share the link with persons, whether they share our opinions or not. But at the end of the day, what we like to present here is neutrality, where we investigate the topics at hand, we find the facts, we present the facts, and we engage these facts with the general public and allow you, the public, to come to your own determination and to really come around to whatever decision you want to formulate in your mind. This evening, before actually getting into our program, I want to identify two individuals who want to send out condolences to the family of Joshua Stewart. I know the cricket fraternity is definitely ailing over the passing of Joshua recently. A number of persons taking to social media to express their grief and so on. So we, and the program this evening, we want to send out condolences to the family and friends of Joshua Stewart on his recent passing. Yet again, another young son of the soil coming to a place where he has now gone on to be with his maker. And so we extend our condolences, we extend our compassion even to the family on his sudden and untimely passing. I also want to indicate and to actually say this one. I didn't have the opportunity to say it last week, but I think the funeral is also today. I want to extend condolences to the family of our dear sister and friend Onika Benjamin, who would have passed away sometime early last week, I think it is. Onika, many persons know her out of that Glamorgan, Pembroke into Glamorgan region. Very, very active young lady. I mean, always out there. Many persons, even within the party, very familiar with her, the Tobago East executive and so on. Always a live wire and a very hard worker consecutively. For years, we've seen Onika really out there and supporting persons. Very, very high spirits, bubbly individual, extremely optimistic about every and anything that she put her hands to. And Onika would have passed away, leaving behind her husband and children, including a very young child, a toddler stage. And it is with deep, deep, deep grief that I say, and I extend this condolence to her family and her very close friends on her untimely passing again, yet another young individual who we would have seen removed from this life. And, it's really tragic what we are experiencing. And it seems as if there is no end to what we have come to know as the condolence segment on the program. So I want to send out condolences to those two specific sets of families and to say that you really want to encourage those around you and all of Tobago to keep families in prayer. We would have been able to identify several families. Last week we spoke of Piley at Roxborough and so on. And even before that, we saw Teresa and they, and it's been ongoing. And we really want to encourage persons around Tobago to really lift up these families in prayer. It is not an easy thing to deal with the sudden loss of a relative. It's not an easy thing. So we really want to ask persons, those who would know the family and are close to the family, please let them feel your presence even in this time of mourning and in their time of bereavement. And I dare say the time of bereavement does not end on the day of the funeral. For some persons, it takes weeks and months and even years to actually cope with the ensuing grief. So we're asking persons really to be that sense of support and to stand up with our dearly departed relatives and so on, friends of dearly departed and so on. So folks, we want to also at this time actually indicate that we have presently taking place, I think, the town hall meeting in the Darrell Spring WIM area. So our minority leader is not going to be with us, as that is his area that he represents as assemblyman. So just saying good night to the minority leader, Assemblyman Kelvin Morris, and all the best on your meeting this evening, where you discuss the challenges that you have been facing and members within your district have been facing as the Executive Council rolls into Darrell Spring WIM district. And they are out there at the Swam Community Center. So if you're a resident of the area, I would encourage you to take a walk across to the community center and also add value to the contributions that are being made this evening. So I want to introduce my guest in studio before I send out my next good night, and someone who has now become officially my co-host. I want to take the opportunity to welcome Senator Lawrence Hislop in studio with me this evening. Senator.
Good night, Maryland. It's really good to be here. Good night, Tobago. I guess I have been promoted to the position of co-host officially.
At least your promotions have been consistent.
It's always good to be here when I am able to. So let's hit the ground running tonight. Let's have an interesting discussion.
Yeah, man. And I mean, we always encourage and we appreciate when you take the time to be here with us. And I know in this season of break, we're gonna see you
yeah, but then you know how it is. The break has been interrupted because Thursday. Well, tomorrow the house sits, and then on Thursday we have the Senate sits to deal with the amendments to the procurement legislation.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're in the midst of our August break, but when it is required, unlike what is being done tomorrow, there's actually business taking place tomorrow in Trinidad and Thursday in the National Parliament, unlike what is going to be happening in the legislature.
And tomorrow. Yes, we will address the folly that will be taking place in the legislature. So folks, as Senator Hislop would have indicated, we have quite a bit of interesting conversations this evening. And we really want to approach it from a serious sense. I want to take the opportunity as well to say good night to our minority councillor, Mrs. Petal Daniel Benoit, who is also standing in a position of support this evening to the minority leader and his venture as well, and his endeavor, standing always as a team representing all of Tobago and in everything that needs representation. So good evening as well, minority councillor. Senator Hislop, we have in fact been seeing a number of things unfolding over the last couple days in Tobago, and in the usual fashion, we have seen quite just a few persons, the regulars, come out to create a particular quote-unquote narrative, to sell Tobago a story, to begin to distract from the real issues, to begin to distract from the reality of many things that we've seen unfolding from as early as late April, early May, coming forward. And this evening, we want to be able to deal and address some of these issues. But before we go into our first clip, which is a recording that we want to play to take Tobago back to where this all started, to remind us of why we have gotten to this place. I want to highlight something. I spoke earlier about someone reporting the page, and just in acts of mischief. We don't know if these individuals are acting alone, if they're acting based on instruction. It doesn't matter. The point is that there have been several attempts to stifle or to stymie the democratic process that is acted out every time we have this show. What is worse is that information came to me this morning firsthand that someone would have called the mother of the minority leader, Assemblyman Kelvin Morris's mom, via a Facebook call. There's not someone that has a cell number. Called her via Facebook and went on to issue threats that she should warn her son and she better talk to him and he better stop and carried on and when at the end of the call, when the subsequent investigation now began to try to trace, the person deleted the entire profile at the time. This information was as troubling to me as the leaked audio clip. Because when did we get to a place where this is the approach to governance? This is the approach to being in charge, and I would want to replace in charge with in control, to the extent where persons feel comfortable to try to shut the voices of those whose responsibility it is to speak on behalf of everyone, not just people who voted for PNM, but all of Tobago. Their interests are represented every time the minority leader and the minority councillor go to the House, every time they do a live, every time a press conference is done, every time they come on the program to speak and to share facts. But yet still, individuals can be so quote-unquote passionate. Passionate.
That's what we're calling it?
That's what I would use presently. Or fanatical. To call and begin to threaten the mother of the minority leader. For her to tell him to stop. I don't know what it is he's doing that persons want him to stop doing. But that was the nature of the call. And I'm saying this because, again, I believe in total transparency, and I want our listeners to always understand the challenges that the minority leader faces, that the minority councillor faces, that the entire office of the minority faces on a daily basis, just to execute the mandate that was given to him in December 2021 to represent the people of the island of Tobago. And that's why I like to bring this information so that people understand. Now, when you see him moving around and you see them moving around and smiling, it is not that everything is all right. But so committed are they to the task and to the job. They have no choice but to continue.
But what we see in Maryland and Tobago is a type of politics that we've never experienced before. Well, I shouldn't say we've never experienced before, because when you speak to the historians of politics in Tobago, you recognize that what we are experiencing is Tobago coming full circle.
Yeah.
Because you would get the stories of PNMites being stoned and so on back in the days. And there is this there has always been this underlying hatred for everything PNM amongst certain people, certain supporters of any party that is opposed to the PNM.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're seeing now, or what we're seeing again, is a resurgence of that vitriol, that downright hatred. And it is manifesting itself more and more now. And it is concerning. It's concerning to, and to be fair, every single Tobagonian ought to be concerned about that level of hatred in the politics. Because the reality is, we like to pride ourselves on being of the same blood and being quote unquote clannish and being Tobagonian to our core. But when you get to the point where people question your Tobago-ness because you're a PNM, it says that we in a very bad place. It says that folks are just hateful.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that us as PNMites exercising our constitutional right to be part of a political organization, we are hated for it.
Yeah.
And we are considered less than Tobagonian because we've decided to join a party. We've decided to be vocal because people just feel that the PNM hate Tobago. And it's just, it is madness. I was going to say it's unfortunate, but it's not unfortunate anymore because it is
We've gone past
it is calculated.
Yeah.
It's a calculated hatred. It's a calculated hatred for the PNM, a calculated hatred for anybody who, and I said to somebody recently, what politics has done for me is that politics has shown me who my friends are. Because it shouldn't be that because I'm associated with an organization, you have a problem with me now. It means that you've always had a problem with me.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what coming out publicly in politics and being at the forefront of politics has done for me within the last 2.5, 3 years is shown me who's really for me.
Yep.
And it is sad that we, as a small community, as a tight-knit community, that people question your Tobago-ness. They call you house Negro.
Yeah.
They consider you selling out to the slave master because you choose to join a political party. And it is, I don't want us to get to the point where it becomes physical. But sometimes I feel that based on the utterances of people is only because some people afraid they go get locked up why they ain't hit nobody yet. You know?
Yeah.
because some of the venom that comes out of people's mouth, of citizens of this island, when you're talking about another citizen of Tobago, it's only because some people afraid they get locked up why they strike people. When you want to be calling people devilish and Satan and what are we doing? What are we doing?
It's heart-rending to say the least. And I would repeat, I would have said this a few programs back. Tobago, when did we become like this? And I want us all to really weigh that out. When did Tobago get to this point with this level of hatred and venom being spewed out? But we're going to hit the ground running.
Sure.
So I want us folks to in the midst of all that is taking place, in the midst of all the noise, in the midst of all the clutter and the chatter and the threats and the accusations that are taking place, I want us to recalibrate and realign. Because in this time, it's very important for us to remain focused, for us to remain clear on what are the issues, and not listen to the speculation and the propaganda about the issues. And the issue here, as we would have known, a number of searches would have begun in the island of Tobago. A number of officials, THA officials, have had their homes and their offices searched. Other persons would have had searches conducted and so on. And why is this taking place? Because there has been an investigation that has been launched officially by the Integrity Commission, along with the Anti-Corruption Bureau of the Police Service. I think the White Collar Crimes Unit, Cyber Unit, they're all part and parcel of it. And so the investigation is now in full mode, full swing, as it were. Now, why is there an investigation taking place in Tobago at this point in time? It's important that we remind ourselves and that Tobago is reminded as to why we have this investigation. And so we're going to go right into our first clip so that persons understand where the conversation this evening is going to be going and how we're going to begin to connect the dots and unfold and again present certain things that would bring clarity to a lot that has been said and misrepresented in the public domain. So I'll ask the director to let's get into that clip one time.
And because I'm responding to the public on negative commentary, the truth is I have been shying away from doing a lot of press. In fact, I have not been doing a lot of press engagements. So outside of what happened around the time of the budget, which was June, my next press arrangement was literally late last week into this week, and will continue tomorrow. So literally almost like once per month, and there may be a need for me to do that some more. But the reason why I haven't done it more frequently is because I was hoping I could get more secretaries and assistant secretaries to be confident enough to go before the media. Because I don't want a situation where every single thing that happens, it requires my face and voice to respond to the thing in order for it to settle. It shouldn't have to be that way. But I feel that some of the secretaries and secretaries are still gone shy. I'm not sure why. But we just come out on a campaign where everybody had their spell, talking on platforms, having meeting on the roadside with a truck. So there's no need to be gun shy. They just need to be prepared. Just right where you have to say, go and say it, and stick to your speaking notes as much as possible, as a way of ensuring that we could manage the PR. And there are some things. I mean, I'm happy the PR group reformulating itself, because there are some things I will like said or done that really and truly shouldn't come from me. There are leaks I would like to have put out there. If I'm out on Facebook, leak, people will think I have no work to do. And eventually it will lose some its thing. But if there are leaks mysteriously popping up that shows our opponents in bad light, then that works in our favor. It doesn't matter where the leaks come from. So we need to identify a clear channel, and this is not just PR, we're talking propaganda now. A little bit different from just PR, which is about shaping the narrative. Propaganda, see, propaganda machinery, that we need. We need a solid propaganda machinery. The PR will deal with the nice stuff, the press release, they will do a press conference, they call the media here, they write a letter, write to the media, they will call in, do an interview, that kind of thing. But we need some propagandists sooner rather than later. Some people who...
A commerce committee.
Yeah, I don't want to call it that, but a team that will reshape the public narrative. Because here's the thing: even with what the political leader is doing in Trinidad, what is required is a shaping of the narrative, one way or the other. And in many instances, we should get ahead of whatever is out there, shape the conversations. So you see Liz post a story. One of the tricks we figured out during the election campaign was, if you go to Liz's story and you comment first, it influences all the other, well, most of the other comments that follows. So the key, so we used to have a propagandist, as soon as you post a story, go to comment first, and it start to color, and influence who comments thereafter. Because one of the two things will happen: either all supporters will jump on and repeat it, or the conversation moves from what the story is about to debating what the propagandist puts on the list post. But the point is, we have to have some people dedicated to do that work. Find some people. You have to be a last.
And that is why the PR team, sorry to interject you, that is why the PR team proposed that we sit and we work out these different elements and then come back and find a way to incorporate them into a system where they actually are remunerated and handsomely too for it. Is now no time for just the thanks and wherever again, because they will be dedicated.
No, I agree.
Find a way to
I agree. Even if it is find the plan, create a plan, the strategy or whatever, bring it here once you get approval. Well, it's 13 people now. You might just need 5 or 7 to do strict PR, so you could do some propaganda. Whether they're going to use fake profiles, whether they're going to use their own profiles, whatever they do. And what you will have to consider is finding a way to employ people on the THA side. Could be menial tasks.
We don't have to pay. Yeah, most of them kind of got a way to ship mail, and we found out.
And most of them kind of get employed already.
Yeah. So that's basic. Others who not employed to bring them in, because they are happy to do the thing on the side voluntarily. You know, once we employ them 8 to 4 in a lucrative.
So they get income.
Yes, that is what we know. So we will organize.
And that will help even with, as I was indicating, with the challenge you raised into how to organize are responding to the moves in Trinidad, that can help in shaping the narrative. Because about shaping the narrative. I don't want us to stop campaigning and then switch it back on. Sometimes we turn off election and turn it back on next election, because it might be too late. Then, I mean, as of now, the truth is, people think the minority leader dumb. They think he talking stupidness, the stupid teeth when they hear him talk. But you don't know, tides just change. I'm sure some people used to stick their teeth when they see us as minority talking to, and they just say, well, but probably not there. It wasn't this bad. It wasn't this bad, to be honest.
It was like an underdog story.
Yeah. So it wasn't so bad. But the thing is, we can never tell where breezes come from to do full battle, right? You can never tell if we may wake up a day 2 or 3 years from now and he finds some favor, some grounding with what he's saying. So we shouldn't leave it for granted that the public not buy into what the opposition is saying now. But we should find ways to respond to it. They are still using the same strategy from during the election. A lot of fake news, fake profile, make up a story, make up things. I mean, I hear all kind of things, right? I hire Watson side woman. I hear I put Trevor side woman on a board. I hear all kind of things. Fake girlfriend on board, Zoisha boyfriend on board, Zoisha like little boys, all kind of things. So they continue the same strategy. But the truth is, we have not been responding to any of them. But and that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to take time out as a chief to sit down at a press conference to respond to that. Because the public will start saying, you have no work to do. You call a press conference to do that, and I don't know that the party necessarily want to respond to a fake profile in that way, because that legitimizes what they do. But certainly a response is needed. And so the elemental response that I don't want to ignore is that propaganda part of the thing, which has to be covert and has to be deadly. And trust me, we do have a stockpile of stuff that can be leaked.
Alright, so it's two things.
Jesus.
So, folks, and I know it was a while to listen to, but I think it was important that we remember where this all began. And I played that clip this evening simply to begin the discussion on this particular matter with us having clarity and understanding that it is alleged.
Yeah.
And I think that it is closer now than just being alleged that a crime was committed. This has nothing to do with victimization. This has nothing to do with spite. This has nothing to do with politics. A crime was committed. It is alleged. And based on information from the Integrity in Public Life Act, which I'll allow the director to put up later on in the show, so persons can get the opportunity to peruse that particular clause of the act. This isn't a PNM act. This isn't a THA act. This is an act that governs all of Trinidad and Tobago.
Correct.
And every public official falls under the umbrella of this act. So based on the Integrity in Public Life Act, based on the preliminary investigations, enough has been found and discovered to indicate that a crime supposedly has been committed.
Because Marlon, one thing we have to establish, there is, you hear the narrative and the downright vacuous narrative that it is PNM that send the police and the Prime Minister send the police, and this and that and the other. And it's a pack of hogwash. It's a pack of nonsense.
Yeah.
Because if the process is, if the police have information, it is within the police services remit. They have units for this, within their remit, to launch an investigation, to look at the initial information that is before them, and to decide, hey, we have a situation here, we could look deeper into it.
Mm-hmm.
Persons talking about and I want to make this for me personally, this is not a happy moment, you know.
No, it's not.
This is not a happy moment, you know,
It's
because
embarrassing.
the reality is this is Tobagonians. This is the Tobago House of Assembly that is now, you have had Jeff Davidson, Lennox Dinoon, A&R Robinson, Ho Choi Charles, Orville London, Ansel Dennis, resident in
Kelvin Charles,
resident in that Chief Secretary's chairman residence at Lowlands for all the 40 plus years of the Tobago House of Assembly. Never have any of them been in a position where police officers have to come to the official residence to question and to search.
talk to them.
It's never happened. We are in a situation in Tobago where you have police officers' vehicles lined up outside the Chief Secretary's official residence, and according to the reports, in there for 3 hours having, it wasn't dinner, it wasn't lunch. It wasn't a function that the Chief Secretary was hosting. He was being questioned by police officers. And I don't think any Tobagonian should be happy.
No. This is not a proud moment.
This is not a proud moment. Because we're talking about the institution called the Tobago House of Assembly. And people are going to go tomorrow and make statements about the democracy of the Tobago House of Assembly is under attack. If the police have information they go to a magistrate, present the information that they have, ask for a warrant to be, and I may not be too familiar with all the procedure, but for a warrant to be drawn up.
And in this case, I think is a judge.
Right. And you go serve the warrant on the person that the warrant is made up for. The guideline, the items to which you are looking, the things you're looking for, what the warrant covers. Based on that, if you have questions to answer, there's a process to take place here. If there is nothing for the executive to work, then there's nothing.
Yeah.
Then the police will find nothing. But if there is something for them to find, they'll find it.
They'll find it.
And let the process take its course. But you are talking about, your person's talking about this a police state and the police doing their work. If we go back, and I know we were talking about it off here, but if you go back to PNM ministers who fell under this same, up to recently, Minister and MP Marley McDonald was arrested by one of these same units.
Same anti-corruption unit.
And had to go before court. Had to answer charges.
And I want us to
Who was the Prime Minister at that time?
Pause on that.
Who was the Prime Minister at that time?
This same Prime Minister now.
Okay.
Because I want that to soak in.
And which party did Marley McDonald belong to?
The PNM.
And so when
I wanted to soak in.
And so when we're talking about the Prime Minister sending the police to harass THE officials and all, come on.
And again, that is why we love to bring the facts. And for those who are listening, we are hearing, and that's why I said the few, because we know who are the persons vested with the responsibility to jump out and try to push all kind of foolish narratives and try to change the discussion and try to change the focus and zero in on the Prime Minister and try to disrespect the Prime Minister. And we know who are the people. Yeah. So it is nothing new, and I say this to persons every time. People sometimes message and say, well, hey, you know this one saying this and you know this one saying that. And I laugh and I say, they are just doing their job.
They're doing their job.
Because these people, when you check, the few of them, they all have an inherent benefit. Either they are on a board, they are on a lucrative job, they are the relative of one of the assemblymen, or a close friend, and some of them have very close friends that consistently try to jump out and change the conversation and try to put misinformation. But again, as we always do on this program, we bring the calm in the midst of the storm. We align the population with what the facts are. And as Senator Islap, you were saying, we saw, and this would have been in 2019, August 2016.
Yeah.
At the home of Marlene McDonald, they arrested her at home. She was then Minister of Public Administration, and she was the MP for Port of Spain South Port of Spain. The same unit that is leading this investigation now had information. They decided to follow it up. They decided to launch an investigation. They got a warrant. No one informed the MP.
Same process.
The MP didn't get a heads up,
Same process.
They turned up at her residence, and I want to make this clear, because you're hearing people even going as far as saying that the police have no right to, why it is they're going at people's private residence. Clearly, and I'm saying that because it was said right here in this studio on a morning program. Clearly, persons do not understand how the police service operates when it comes to an investigation. So I'm going through the process here to let them know that they went to the minister's home at 6 a.m. on this Wednesday, the 7th of August. Having left her home, they took her to her constituency office. They searched the office as well. They took her to her ministerial office. They searched the office as well.
Yeah.
That is the general process that is undertaken. But again, sometimes you have people that will say, well, that is just a one-off thing, and people, they just do that to show. So I would want to take us further back. Again, we always present the facts and you, the public, could determine. We saw in 2005 where it was alleged allegations of bribery charges came against the now deceased Franklin Kahn, Minister Franklin Kahn at the time, and Minister Eric Williams.
Yeah.
Eric Williams was at the point in time the Minister of Energy. Franklin Kahn was at the point in time the Minister of Works.
Yeah.
And the councillor Dansuk Dansar brought allegations of bribery
Against both of them.
against both of them. What took place?
What did the Prime Minister, a PNM Prime Minister, was it a UNC Prime Minister?
No.
What did the PNM Prime Minister at
PNM
that
was
time
in
do?
office.
What did he do at that time?
Minister
Go and clear them and come back.
and Minister Williams had to resign.
Both
with
of them had to
immediate
resign.
effect.
Go and clear your name and come back.
Go and clear your name and return.
Yeah.
And what we saw ensuing that whole process, the councillor Dansuk, 1 year later, admitted
that
in
it's
court
fabricated.
that he fabricated
Yeah.
the information.
Correct.
Admitted in court that the information was fabricated.
But we want to establish here. We want to establish here tonight that the police has its role and function. Based on information, the information comes, they are going to go through the process.
Must go through the process.
If you have nothing to hide,
You have nothing to
you
fear.
have nothing to fear.
You have nothing to fear if there's nothing to hide. Let the police do their job. The same police that many persons who are now speaking negatively would say, the police not doing the work, they're not doing this, they're acting too slow, now they're acting too fast.
No, you know what's interesting though? And I guess it's just people that we deal with, and it's sad. But if this was flipped, the same persons who are saying that the police is infringing and the democracy of the THA is under attack and the same persons who are saying that, if the scenario was flipped, would have been commending and patting the police on the back for a job well done.
Because Senators, as we go forward, I would also play another clip of an allegation that was made, and it was literally said by this chief secretary that he is going to be handing a copy of the evidence. We're going to get to it, of that evidence to the DPP
because
the police.
Because I'm almost positive. Two things. If all of these allegations, especially I remember that was during what, an election?
Yeah.
Envelope full with what? Full with what?
Yeah.
God alone knows what was
Full
in the envelope.
envelope.
Waving the envelope. If there was information that required an investigation, and that was presented to the DPP and the police, an investigation would have taken place.
Would have taken place. And that's the point. The investigation would have taken place.
The difference now is that information is in the public domain.
Concerning
And
information.
That's right. And the police took a decision. We're going to look into this. Not only the police, but the Integrity Commission says we need to look. We are launching an official investigation.
Yeah. And we're going to take the next step, because we heard the clip. And again, what we are saying tonight and reminding Tobago is that the only issue here is that a crime has been committed. And there's no other discussion. There's no other distraction from it. A crime was committed. We're going to take a short break. And when we get back, we're going to go right into that second clip where we have an admission of guilt, as it will. Okay. So folks, stay locked on, stay locked on. Let's share the live. Let's have as many persons as possible weigh in on this discussion this evening, and we'll be right back.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Come one, come all. It's time to join in the Tobago Heritage Festival 2023. Homage. All are we, and all are who we be. To Tobago. Indulge in the awesomeness that is embodied in the spirit of Tobago at the 36th Tobago Heritage Festival. Celebrate a rich, vibrant, hypnotic showcase of our cultural legacy. Yes, from July 21st to August 1st, 2023. Take the island tour. Sample the sumptuous variety of local indigenous delicacies. Enjoy the recreation of old-time village life. Dance to the drum. Feel the rhythm of steel pan. Experience the way of life, languages, and oral traditions. Be part of the journey to our we heritage, honoring our past, celebrating our present, and inspiring our future. Relive our unique culture. Join in the preservation of the heritage of we island of Tobago.
So folks, we are back in studio on the Minority Report. Marlon David, your host, in studio with my co-host, Senator Hislop. So we're going to go right into that clip. We would have heard the audio recording where we understand the conversation now that took place behind closed doors. We're going to go into the second clip, which is where we heard a number of admissions or confessions, as it were. And I want to correct myself with something I said as we left. An alleged crime has been committed because under our system, a man is innocent until proven guilty. So an alleged crime is what it is being investigated. So I want us to go right now to the second clip where we would have heard some additional information.
And yes, this was a closed door strategy session. And I will show you why the detractors, how they are just wicked. Because they very well know the nature of these conversations. And there are two reasons. In the first instance, when you have an executive, you have to explore all strategies, including those utilized by your opponents. All. And let's be real, the strategy of bringing people in who will live on Facebook and do work for you, that has been explored before us. The people who are making noise from this program with Gavin Waters and company, community partnership, what is he get paid to do? Community laser. Not be on Facebook every day. That's what they be doing. And walking at ground, but on Facebook every day. That's what they get paid to do. But guess what I did? I closed it down. Look at the evidence. Look at the evidence. Show me how much people we hire to do that kind of work. So evidently, it was discussed, and evidently, it wasn't executed as discussed, which clearly shows that there's a government that is working. You discuss all strategies, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the indifferent, everything. You look at the possibility, you go home, you sleep on it, you get up, you come back again. And there's a reason why cabinet meetings are protected by law. There are reasons why the discussions of an executive is protected by law, because you're expected to have these raw conversations that are not expected to be heard everywhere. What the public should really be seeing is what you execute. But I'm glad this is out. I'm glad this is out because it showed that we discuss it, we considered it, and when you look at the facts, we ain't hire no team know about that just on Facebook are peddling rumors. This leak, as unfortunate as it is, it proved to us the kind of colleague we had in Mr. Duke. Because I very well believe that.
So, folks, we have gone into stage 2. So we heard what the audio recording, the leaked audio recording, was about. Now we heard the admission of guilt, because for 24 days we had silence. And we saw the usual detractors, the same ones who come out this morning and yesterday morning and coming out tomorrow morning to try to create the narrative, a fresh narrative now about this part of the investigation. Those same ones, the ones who even saw the propaganda machine with their own eyes, those same ones, we saw them come out to start to talk about AI.
Yeah.
We saw them talk about, suppose it's not the chief sec voice, and all the foolishness, all the Bush lawyers and everybody who started skipping through. But here it is, after 24 days, we have seen the chief secretary stand representing his entire executive council and said, we discussed it. You see, just that statement, just that little, those 3 words, we discussed it, is an indication and an admission that it is my voice on the clip. It is the Leader of Assembly's voice on the clip. But in addition to that,
Possibly everybody else.
everybody else was part and parcel of this discussion. So I want to be able to understand. An alleged crime was identified in just listening to the audio clip. Cause for concern, the Integrity in Public Life Act, there are some concerns with it. And that existed for 24 days. Then we heard the chief secretary come and by his own admission say, yes, it is my voice, it is our voices, and we discussed it. And for those listening, it is at this point in time that enough was triggered that the Integrity Commission now became concerned.
And you see, people, it's the same Integrity Commission that, and listen to this. When the UNC made the allegation about the Prime Minister and an apartment, that caused the Integrity Commission, just the allegation caused the Integrity Commission to look into it.
Yep.
Just the allegation by the UNC caused the Integrity Commission to look into it. And you see, persons, we being disingenuous, we downright selective in our persecution. Because when the UNC accused the Prime Minister of something, the Integrity Commission looked into it.
Yeah.
When the issue came up about David Lee, the police looked into it and charged him. David Lee is on $1 million bail. It's the same police service, you know.
Same police service.
But there is something about the Tobago House of Assembly and this present administration that makes them believe that no police, they are above the law. They're above the police.
They are above the law.
Because it's the same.
The law applies to everybody else.
It's the same noise that was made when the license officers came, the license
Yes.
officers was here for a week. And it is not until somebody was personally touched that there was pushback against the license officers coming to Tobago. So there is something about this administration and its unwillingness to operate by the law.
Yes.
EMA can't tell we nothing. We going and build a road without EMA approval.
Yeah.
Until the court says, listen, we have jurisdiction over Trinidad and Tobago.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is just something about this administration that feels that the laws of Trinidad and Tobago don't apply to them.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Senator Islop. Because here it is, and I think that was in the news yesterday or this morning, where it came across that the Prime Minister was cleared
Yes.
of all charges,
The
or all
Integrity
allegations
Commission said we're no longer interested in the investigation.
in the investigation. But
so-
the investigation was
But the
launched.
investigation was launched, and so Tobagonians allow the thing to take its course. If down the road, 2 weeks, a month from now, the Anti-Corruption Bureau say
They don't have enough
we
information.
don't have no information, we
Yeah.
have no evidence of any wrongdoing.
Then that's the end.
Isn't it the same police? I want if that happens, Marilyn, I want to know if it is the same. So if the same supporters are going to come out and pat the police on them. The police doing their work. There is sufficient grounds for the Integrity Commission to launch an investigation. Sufficient grounds for the Anti-Corruption Bureau to launch an investigation.
Mm-hmm. And I want to remind us, and I want to encourage Tobago at the same time, do not be hoodwinked twice.
There's no, and just stick up in the Maryland. There is no democracy in Tobago that is under attack, you know. There is no Tobago House of Assembly that is under attack, you know. What the police seeking to do is to bring clarity to the possibility of a crime being committed.
Yep. Just
There's
as they've always done with other
That's
public
right.
officials.
There is no institution. Was the parliament under attack when Marley McDonald was charged?
No.
When Frankie Can and all of them were accused of crimes, was the parliament, was democracy under attack?
No.
But all of a sudden,
The Tobago.
THA House of, the Tobago House of Assembly is under attack because the police carried out their function.
With evidence of an alleged crime being committed, that a judge, a member of the judiciary, one of the arms of government,
Sign a warrant.
presiding over and sign
Sign
a
over a
warrant
warrant.
or several warrants. So I want to know if the next accusation we're going to hear.
Is that the judiciary? Is
The
that the
judiciary,
judiciary
yeah.
attacking the THA too?
Yeah, the judiciary attacking the THA.
Well,
And I want to just as we on that, something that was said by the chief secretary in that whole thing when he spoke about, you know, units and being targeted and propaganda unit and so on. In passing, I want to touch on a disingenuous, disrespectful, out of place situation that occurred in an interview this morning involving a gentleman. What's his name again?
the advisor to the chief,
The advisor to the chief secretary. Yes, Mr. Richards,
Yeah.
Anselm Richards, who sat on a program this morning and attacked the young people of Tobago.
Yeah.
And it prompted even the Tobago West MP, Minister Shamfa Kujo, to issue a statement, because we saw that individual sit in this house, this studio, hear me, this house, and refer to a unit that was established, that has been established since, I think, 2012, that has consistently trained young people, that has consistently prepared them for the world of work, that has consistently conducted workshops in terms of self-development, personal development programs, and has turned out, mind you, because they have an alumni, they've turned out
Quality people.
hundreds and
Professionals.
thousands of professionals
Yeah.
in Tobago. We saw that man who is an advisor to the chief secretary, sit on this program, on a program this morning in this same studio, and attack those young people and call them propagandists and say that that program is a propaganda machine and that is what they're doing. I'm challenging Anselm Richards. I'm challenging him tonight to present anything as proof to show that one of the thousands of young people who now either reside in Tobago and work as professionals in Tobago or have been scattered all over the world adding value to companies and organizations that they are a part of. I am challenging him to come back and say or present evidence that of any propaganda that was spread by any one of them.
But all of that, Marilyn, is part of the hate. All of that is part of the narrative of hate. Because if I'm to read from Minister Kojo's statement, and I'm reading the second paragraph of what she said this morning. She said the YES program was created to prepare young Tobagonians for the world of work. The unit conducts training and skills development workshops and activities such as resume writing, interview skills training, entrepreneurship seminars, etc. They serve young people in Tobago despite color, creed, or political affiliation.
Yeah. For years.
For years. And you want to come this morning. And attack the young people and say they're propagandists. That's what we read.
But this is what we've seen from this administration.
That's when you campaign.
Flagrant attacks. Reckless.
It's a narrative of...
Just slash and burn.
A narrative of hate, Maryland. It's a narrative
destroying the lives of people, young people, working people, families.
But these are the same people who campaigned on the premise that nobody will be, no jobs will be lost, you know. And
seriously?
That they will take off, and it was the chief secretary who said it, he'll take off his PDP clothing and put on his Tobagonian clothing, and there's no more campaigning. But in the clip, in the audio, they talk about we need to continue, we need to keep campaigning.
Keep campaigning.
But when they were campaigning for the election, they said once we win, there'll be no more campaigning.
You think Tobago remember that? You think Tobago, the very people who are trying to change the quote-unquote narrative as they were instructed in that audio leak that the chief secretary was about a year ago, I going by his words. You think they remember that?
Well, I remember.
Let me ask the director to pull it up. Because I think Tobago needs to remember what was said on the campaign platform. I'll ask the director, pull up that clip. Let's take a quick listen. In jobs in CPAP and URP. Let's go to the second clip, Mr. Producer.
Line number one they have told you is that you will lose services when you vote for the PDP. You have no service to lose when you vote for the PDP. In fact, the PDP is about providing service more than anybody else, to the point that they also accuses us of wanting to spend out money on you, give away money to you, promoting laziness. They try to accuse us of that. But you will not lose any services. You will not lose your jobs. You will not lose your food cards. Nobody coming to take back a hamper from you that they give you. Nobody coming to take away a contract that you're already doing. Because we have been saying from this platform, this is about Tobago.
Those are the things that were said.
Exactly.
Those are the things that were said.
And we have seen a complete turnaround. Complete turnaround.
So I don't know if the people who jumping out and trying to change up the narrative and try to turn guns on the Prime Minister and the guns on central government.
They've benefited, Marlon.
Well,
they've
again,
benefited.
That's it.
So if I'm benefiting, then how could I?
Selective memory.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
Selective memory. And again, Tobago, all we want to highlight this evening and we want Tobago to remember is that an alleged crime has been committed. An alleged crime has been committed. Let us not be hoodwinked twice and making that statement again.
And you see, there was no sympathy for Tracy Davidson Celeste.
Yes.
There was no sympathy.
Yes.
You came out on a statement from the Auditor General's report. No sympathy for Tracy Davidson Celestine. You fly your envelope. You say what you want.
Mm-hmm.
No sympathy. And now the tables have turned. The police are at your doors. And it is now being said that the THA is under attack.
And I'm glad again that you brought up that issue with Tracy, because again we're dealing with people who might remember. So I want the director just to run that clip so that we could hear a little piece of it.
Are we moving prophetic sort of like?
I'm telling you, I'm glad you bring it up. So that we could hear, and I want to be able to remember, because this is the individual who stood up and waved papers and show official stamp that the camera didn't see, and official this and official that, and he's going to be handing over a copy.
We had what?
Almost 2 years ago.
We had almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And to the extent that you have been taken to court.
Yeah.
By Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestine.
And it still have people who waiting on that the evidence to be handed into the DPP.
When we talk about the zip line, isn't it that under Mr. Ansel Dennis as Chief Secretary, that matter was sent for international adjudication?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Director, just pull up that clip there, because we like people to remember what was said from the horse's mouth.
A cursory glance. After having a cursory glance of the document, I can tell you there is need for me to forward a copy to Mr. Gary Griffith and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, because these matters must be fixed. I told you my name is Fact Finding Farley, and when I dig, I find. I also told you that I'm a good social scientist, so I know how to do research, and I just read plenty, and I know how to connect the dots. And while the Auditor General could not find any evidence, some kind Tobagonian who is patriotic to the core sent me a copy of every single exec council minute or note with accompanying receipts for the zipline project. And I can tell you, while we spent just...
So we heard...
It was a cursory glance, Marilyn.
A cursory glance.
That's the problem.
But at a cursory glance, you're ready to submit to the DPP.
But if you have fact-finding value...
We are coming to that.
If you have fact-finding value, how could a cursory glance
validate that name?
Validate fact-finding value.
But to push it further, and we heard the Chief Secretary call himself fact-finding folly.
Yeah.
And then turned into propaganda initiating folly.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to read again. Propaganda initiating folly. Because he initiated the conversation as, in his words, it was discussed. And for those who, again, are still between the understanding of propaganda and if it's really something political and so on, the definition of propaganda is information, especially of a biased or misleading nature. I want to repeat those two words. Of a biased or misleading. So once you start with propaganda, is with a direct responsibility to mislead the people you're talking to. A misleading nature used to promote a political cause or point of view. Misleading information used to promote a political cause or point of view. Come on, Tobago. Let us not be hoodwinked again. And we are going into a emergency special sitting of the House of Assembly tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
That was called, as my information puts it, by the Chief Secretary, it's questionable if the chief secretary has the authority.
No. Well,
to
that's just
call a
Well,
sit-in.
that's just when I read the when I read Well,
First.
based on I think well, we don't have the standing orders here, but based on what I heard read from the standing orders, the chief secretary can request an extraordinary sitting or 1/3 of the members or something like that can write to the
But I think
So it's
that must be dealt with by the leader of assembly business.
no. Well, it's just
It's just a continuous
it's like
breach of
okay.
all the policies.
No.
Processes.
I wouldn't say that because it's similar to what when Dr. Rowley said he instructed the leader of government business to call back the house to deal with the procurement. The opposition made a big hoorah about it. The opposition leader came out in a press conference that we haven't seen her at for ages. Came to a press conference to say that Camille can't call her, and if Camille call her, she ain't going. And so it's just semantics because that just initiates a process. Because there must be there are clear guidelines in the standing orders as to how you recall a house. So him saying that is just initiating the process.
Yeah. So the house is on recess.
Correct.
And the chief secretary initiates a process.
Yeah.
To which
he triggers the process.
Remit.
Yeah,
he triggers the process.
Because the reason why we're meeting on Wednesday, tomorrow the house is meeting in the National Parliament. It's the same thing. The Prime Minister
triggers the process.
Yeah, the Prime Minister triggers the process. But the person who has to make the official request is the leader of government business in the Parliament. I don't know if it's the same procedure here.
So thanks a lot for that clarity.
Yeah.
So it's just that,
But when I read the release, I smiled.
Well, I want to read it for the entire listening audience. So the process has been triggered and a special extraordinary sitting is to be convened tomorrow. And I am going to read to us the media release that came out of the office of the Chief Secretary on July 19th, that is today. Smithfield, Tobago, July 18th. Sorry, special sitting for July 19th. The public as well as the media are invited to view a special sitting of the Tobago House of Assembly on Wednesday, the 19th of July, 2023 at 10 a.m. This sitting is being convened to discuss matters of importance to our democratic way of life, and in brackets
Tobago.
In Tobago. He continues, the release continues, the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago guarantees that our twin island republic shall be a sovereign democratic state. And it is in this regard that the democratically elected Tobago House of Assembly shall sit to consider certain threats to its very existence.
Go ahead, listen.
Sit to do what? Consider certain threats to its very existence. That is what the existence of what? The democratically elected. No, I don't even want to go down the road about this democratically elected Tobago House of Assembly.
But you see
the threats.
You see, Marlon, I want to read something that's very interesting.
Final four.
That the only thing on the agenda tomorrow, and I'm reading from the order paper. The only thing on the order paper tomorrow is statement by the Chief Secretary and Secretary of Finance. So you call back a whole house that was in recess.
People on vacation.
Just to make a statement. That is that
primary school.
Let me tell you something. I am convinced, and I am convinced that what we're going to get tomorrow is the Chief Secretary and Secretary for Finance and the Economy
narrative
using the House of the Tobago House of Assembly to beat up on the police,
Mm-hmm.
to beat up on Trinidad, to
Mm-hmm.
beat up on the PNM, to cast aspersions, to make a political statement.
Again,
Is what is going to be done in the House tomorrow.
for the second time in a couple of weeks.
You did not even call back the House for a debate on a matter.
Mm-hmm.
You've called back the House from recess to make one statement. That's what we're using the Tobago House of Assembly to do.
That's where it reached to.
Why not hold a press conference?
That's where it reached
Why
to.
not hold a press conference and subject yourself? When we talk about
scrutiny.
when we talk about I listened to the Prime Minister for 3 hours this evening on a radio program. I tell people when we talk about this man as if he is a demon. Dr. Keith Rowley has made himself more accessible to the media than any other previous Prime Minister.
Exactly.
Press conferences that go on for hours.
Question him.
Answers all kinds of questions. Today he sat on a radio program, took calls from the public. He sat on a radio program for 3 hours. Why not come and hold a press conference about what's going on? And allow the media to ask you questions about what's going on.
Challenge the information you present.
You're going to use the House under parliamentary privilege.
Yeah, to hide.
To make statements that nobody can hold you accountable for.
To hide.
Because even if you mislead the House, you have the majority in the House, so you can't be held before the Committee of Privileges.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if the minority decides to move a motion on no confidence, the entire team on your side is going to get up and defend you wholeheartedly. But you call back a House from recess for you to make a statement, to make a political statement.
Yeah. Folks, as usual, we are out of time, but definitely not out of words. I want to leave you with this. And again, we await this statement tomorrow. But next week's program, take my word for it, we're going to be going a bit further. And so let those that have to speak and have to say what they have to say, let them talk. And as they speak, we continue to present the facts and we continue to present the public with information that you can decide. Yeah? So, Senator Hisler, again, wonderful program, always a pleasure. And folks, those of you who are viewing and listening, public and audience, thank you for your comments, your encouragement. I want to apologize. We didn't get time to open the lines quickly because of how things were going, but we definitely are going to be having a session where we have a full call-in program soon coming. So I want to encourage you, have a wonderful evening. Stay prayed up. In this atmosphere, we need to constantly recognize God and put God first. And I want to encourage you a bit to be your brother's keeper. Let's put away the hate. Let's put away the venom and this spiteful type of environment that we've seen developing in Tobago, where we're seeing attacks left, right, and center on persons. Let's get rid of that and let us bring Tobago back to what Tobago is known for: community spirit and love for everyone. I'm Arlan David saying good night. Have a wonderful evening.